The Bounty Heist of Dockhalla. In a city built on fog and forgotten sins, where docks groan under the weight of secrets, a crew of bounty hunters, adventurers, and misfits gathers under the late Captain Reynolds. They came for coin and a cause, delivering a strange elixir tied to a dying man's final wish. But in Dockhalla, faces lie, memories shift, and nothing is ever what it seems. What begins as a simple delivery could unravel a conspiracy years in the making. And not everyone who drinks the truth survives it. Chapter 1. The Elixir and the Last Request. The Salt Bloods were halfway through a bragging contest when fate waddled into their lives. Out on the open sea, with fog kissing the barnacle-bitten railings and gulls cackling from above, the old vessel creaked like a tired spine. The crew had passed the time sharing wild tales and one-upmanship, as adventuring types tend to do when there's no danger in sight. Naturally, danger was already on its way. Then came Garrick. Not so much a merchant as a walking junk drawer. The dwarf clanged aboard in his ramshackle boathouse contraption, part ship, part tool shed, part disappointing miracle. His beard was stained with powdered sugar, his belt sagged with mysterious vials, and his voice was as greasy as the fish oil he probably used as hair gel. "Good evening, heroes," he bellowed with the cheer of someone who had not yet been punched. His opening act? Selling nonsense. A vibrating mushroom, an anchor that couldn't be lifted, a canister of glow spittle that, once sprayed, made your boots impossible to clean for days. None of it reasonably priced. The Salt Bloods weren't buying it until Garrick mentioned he had a message, a sealed letter, from none other than Lord Varric Hawthorne. Captain Elias Reynolds, a man of salt and scars, finally coughed up the coin. But just before he could open the letter, chaos. Screams rang out. Skiffs slammed into the hull. Bugbears roared onto the deck, 3 of them, flanked by a leering kobold and a sinewy crocodile monk. In the fray, Garrick's purple penguin companion, Chester, was snatched away, squawking and flailing like a drunken gymnast. "Not Chester!" Garrick wailed, diving behind a barrel. The Salt Bloods leapt into action. Steel clashed, spells flew. Arkanoid, the lizard folk barbarian, cleaved into a bugbear with brutal glee. Borbuga the turtle moved with fluid grace, redirecting the crocodile monk's strikes with ancient chi. Scrum the halfling got scrappy. Presto, ever the observer, peered into minds with quiet intensity. After a bloody skirmish, the Salt Bloods stood victorious. Well, mostly. One bugbear was taken alive but said nothing, snarling through bloodied teeth. Presto used detect thoughts and sensed that one of the attackers was still alive. Somewhere. Too late. A sharp whistle, the twang of a bow, and then an arrow straight through Captain Reynolds' back. The captain staggered. "Find the changelings." "Dockhalla," he rasped, and with trembling fingers, he handed them a strange vial, etched with markings not even Garrick could decipher. Then he died. The crew stood stunned. Even Chester looked solemn. Searching the bodies, they uncovered something worse. A bounty poster. Captain Elias Reynolds, 200 gold. Dead or alive. Another, a crude sketch of a father and son. Changelings, alive only, 1,000 gold. The letter Reynolds never read, still unopened. The vial now theirs. The Salt Bloods looked toward the horizon where the fog thickened like curdled soup. Dockhalla awaited. Chapter 2. Fog, face taxes, and fisticuffs at the blowhole. Captain Reynolds was dead. The letter was opened. The crew was still very much arguing. Who was the new captain now? Borbuga the turtle puffed up his shell, insisting by sheer ancient wisdom that he was clearly the most captainish. Arkanoid, the lizard folk, responded with the subtlety of a thunderclap. You are soft shell soup. I am power." The debate escalated fast and dumb, as most dockside promotions do. Still, the job was clear. The letter from Lord Hawthorne spoke of a hidden elixir that revealed the true form of changelings. It had to be delivered, unopened, to a courier near Dockhalla's rope market. Easy money, right? The Salt Bloods made landfall just as the fog rolled thick and the cliffs loomed high, bristling with armed guards. Dockhalla revealed itself in layers, wooden tiers stacked like drunken Jenga towers over the harbor. Fish bones rattled from necklaces. Curses drifted in with the tide. A sharp-eyed dockmaster greeted them with the warmth of a tax audit. She cast a rope from her perch, then watched with theatrical patience as the crew struggled to secure their boat. After minutes of flailing, the dockmaster rolled her eyes, hooked it properly, and demanded 12 gold for entry. Garrick, ever the schemer, attempted to convince her it was only 6 gold. She squinted. He panicked. Somehow, the crew ended up splitting the cost after all. Dockhalla was already winning. As they gathered their bags and bruises, they were approached by a well-dressed, well-spoken man, a new lord in town. But he wasn't a lord. He was Eamon Vale, the changeling in disguise. Scrum, perhaps sensing something odd, or perhaps simply being Scrum, got right up in the lord's grill. "Who are you supposed to be, shiny boots?" he said, one hand near his dagger. The lord responded with calm and kindness, which only made Scrum more flustered. He apologized immediately and introduced himself with the politeness of someone realizing they just sassed royalty. Eamon studied the vial discreetly. The markings, he knew them. Somewhere in the dusty archives of his memories, they scraped against something old and dark. But he said nothing. The crew split up. Team Blowhole Amon, Borbuga, and Arkanoid made their way to Misty's Blowhole, a tavern built on the second tier of the docks, above sea level, but still below common sense. Stone walls on wooden supports made the entire bar sway dangerously with every gust of wind. 2 flirtatious women approached as they entered. One stroked Amon's arm. "We'll be here when you're done," she purred, ignoring the turtle and the walking lizard tank beside him. Inside, music bounced off the walls. A half-ogre blew into a massive brass horn, drums jangling from his hips. A bard beside him strummed a lute wildly out of tune, but perfectly in vibe. It was chaotic harmony. Borbuga and Arkanoid approached the bar. The bartender was stunning. Flowing hair, chiseled jaw, handlebar mustache, and biceps carved from legend. He poured them ale from a barrel spout with the speed of a man trying to avoid their conversation. Drinks flowed. So did the argument. "I am captain," Arkanoid shouted. "You are captain of nothing but your own impatience," Borbuga replied, gently redirecting a punch into a stool. They drank. They wrestled. They drank again. Arkanoid faked a jab and bear-hugged the turtle, and the two stumbled to the ground like angry toddlers in armor. Meanwhile, an old man with a cloud of white beard puffed smoke rings from a crooked pipe at a nearby table. Borbuga approached, offering a mysterious leaf in exchange for conversation. The old man's eyes lit up. He spoke of Dockhalla's dark history with changelings, once welcomed, later betrayed. Some changelings rose to power through deception, leading to widespread fear and purges. The people turned. Trust died. He spoke of the 3 factions now shaping the city. The Gutter Line Syndicate, who sought to push a face tax using fog alchemy to expose changelings. The Drift Guard Union, ex-dock guards, now mercenaries for hire. The Saltmouth Circle, weird ritualists who saw changelings as destined beings tied to prophecy. And of course, Lord Hawthorne, the face of anti-changeling order. Whispers of citywide face checks filled the streets. "Purity through order," they said. The old man coughed and rose. "Well, that's my cue. I'm up next," he said, pulling a lute from his back and joining the band mid-set. His tune was slower, dreamy, and just a little haunted. Amon saw his opportunity. While the crew brawled and the bar swayed, he slipped away, shifting form into a hunched old man. He snuck past the bartender, past the kobold gutting a pig in the back, and found a gold and silver chest. Elvish and dwarven design, very rare, very forbidden, it glowed. A dagger inside pulsed faintly. Eamon took only that. "One item," he whispered. "That's not stealing. That's reallocating." He shifted back into Lord form and rejoined the buffoons just as they stopped arguing, paid their tab, and decided it was time to go. Team Market. Meanwhile, Garrick, Inaira, and Fibbit had gone shopping. Garrick remembered Chester, who was still somehow alive on the ship, and gave a sharp whistle. A faint whistle squawk answered. He grinned, then wandered toward a rope stall. "Hey!" barked the shopkeeper. "You owe me! Those gadgets you sold me last time were junk." User error, Garrick replied flatly, already backing away. They began to haggle over a new set of vials. Garrick's price went from 500 gold to 5 faster than a pirate's morals. Next door, Inaira was drawn to a stall of old artifacts. Runes, copper, silver, and fishbone trinkets. The shopkeeper, Tala, a half-blind old woman, ignored her at first until she saw a drawing of the symbol from the vial. Her expression changed. "This is forbidden," she hissed. "Leave!" Inaira pressed, offering gold. The woman paused. "I'll read it, if you give me the vial." "No," Inaira said firmly. "You can look, not touch." Tala lit a sacred leaf and let the smoke drift. It curled unnaturally, away from Inaira and the vial. "These markings," she finally said, "are over 500 years old. The first is changeling in origin. The second, much darker, doppelganger." Inaira froze. "There are 2 symbols? Yes, changelings may be corrupt, but doppelgangers, they are evil. They don't lie to Manape." Next door, Inaira was drawn to a stall of old artifacts. Runes, copper, silver, and fishbone trinkets. The shopkeeper, Tala, a half-blind old woman, ignored her at first until she saw a drawing of the symbol from the vial. Her expression changed. "This is forbidden," she hissed. "Leave!" Inaira pressed, offering gold. The woman paused. "I'll read it, if you give me the vial." "No," Inaira said firmly. "You can look, not touch." Tala lit a sacred leaf and let the smoke drift. It curled unnaturally, away from Inaira and the vial. "These markings," she finally said, "are over 500 years old. The first is changeling in origin. The second, much darker, doppelganger." Inaira froze. "There are 2 symbols? Yes, changelings may be corrupt, but doppelgangers? They are evil. They don't lie to manipulate. They lie to consume." Next to her, Phoebut knocked over several charms. "Oops!" The wizard snatched up a glowing bone charm and paid with a strange fish eye that turned and blinked. Tala gasped in delight. What a treasure! It was, in fact, a simple illusion spell. Phoebut winked. "Gotcha!" And somewhere in the dark alleys of Dockhalla, rumors began to spread. The salt bloods had arrived. So had the elixir. And someone, somewhere, was watching.